That Sean is your personal enemy, costs money and lives, it weakens the moral and physical strength of your community. Show your respect for the law by cooperating with ML Elric 52 weeks a year. Join the fight to stamp out Sean, the ally of treason.
You asked interrogative question around my face. It's gone.
What are you doing?
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now?
So we have to start the show with two corrections. First of all, Sean is not the ally of treason. He's just a very good friend.
I thought you were going to say the ally of reason.
Oh, yeah, no. That we absolutely would have needed to correct that. And also, my mom insists on setting the record straight on a story that was told recently about some question as to whether or not the L in ML stands for love child. She pointed out that she was married in December of 1966, and I don't remember that because I wasn't there, and that's the point of the story, and that I was born in October of 67, so this was not a shotgun marriage. So my mom said, if you want Sunday dinner ever again, you got to get that straightened out. I said, Mom, sometimes the chicken's a little overdone, but I will get the record straight.
I'm just impressed you had a point to a story.
I'm getting a text. The chicken is fine. So, no, the chicken is fantastic. So, and so is Sean, which is often confused with the chicken while he's trying to sell out this country as part of his whole treason thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we have some very special guests today.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we don't. Why am I here
Less
if
is
I'm the
more.
enemy? Who am I the enemy of?
The
You?
people.
The people.
You.
No.
The people.
Because you represent
I
the
speak
people.
for the people, yeah.
You do more than speak for them.
Yeah, I can't wait to have that statue built. I told him, can you make it Saddam size? And it turns out there's a gazebo at Fox 2, and I thought, could you guys put the statue at Fox 2? And they said, actually, can you get the rest of your shit out of your office? So when you do that, maybe we'll see about a statue. And I think it's mainly just because they need a place for the pigeons to roost and do.
How many whiskers
things.
on the chin?
To be determined.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. I try not to interfere with an artist's muse.
Okay.
But
Is this lover's quarrel over yet?
that's the whole treat. He's very sensitive to selling out the world. But we have some special guests here today for a special cause. Derek Kevra, my friend and former colleague at Fox 2, he's still at Fox 2. I'm the former Fox 2 guy, is joining us because we are going to be MCs at a special event that's being put on by Max Prokop, who you know orally. And we'll let you figure out what that means and insert the blank, because he is the composer of our.
Oh, you mean Aurally? Okay, then yes.
Actually, I'm not sure. You're in a band, so it could mean anything. Hanging out in a van and
I just love that.
hitting the road. So Buzz Me Cool was composed by Max for
Max,
our
is that the name?
100th anniversary show.
He has changed the name of the song every show.
Yeah, it's Buzz Me Mellow.
That's
but
what
Oh, Buzz Me Mellow.
Yeah.
Oh, right, but I
close.
said I
Jazz.
thought it was called Cool Ass Shit or something, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've compromised. It's called Buzz Me Cool Unless You're a Treasonous Son of a Gun. And Sean is not objecting, so I guess he is. And of course, Mark Fellhauer's here as well.
Always.
So,
That's all I got.
and the reason why we're all here is because this is a little bit of a capitalist enterprise, and we are pleased to be sponsored by Luke Nowacki and David Hall, who support all the Red Shovel Network shows.
Oh, was that my cue?
You're the professional. You're the broadcasting pro.
I might have been communicating with Joe and not paying attention, but at least I admitted it. You want to know about Hall Financial, right? Is that what you said?
Is that my cue? Yes, I do want to know. about
Okay,
it.
thank you very much.
I understand they're saving people a lot of money
Yeah, you know how?
with great deals.
With a cash out refinance.
Oh.
Because home values have just skyrocketed. So you can tap into your home equity and get a cash out refinance from Hall Financial right now. It's the easiest way to get thousands and thousands of dollars. There's even a listener recently who was a Hall Financial client and got back $55,000 with a cash out refinance. You pay off high interest credit card debt. You can consolidate loans with them, remodel, update your home, and get it set so it can make more money for you. Unlock thousands of dollars today. Cash out refinance from Hall Financial. Just call them 866-CALL-HALL or chat online at callhallfirst.com. That's 866-CALL-HALL.
And when you have all that money and you're looking to invest it, there's a guy who knows exactly what to do with it.
Yeah, that would be Luke Nowacki.
Oh,
Because who knows?
you're learning. That's good. You picked
No,
right
just-
up on that.
I'm finally listening.
Whew.
I didn't space out when you said something.
What?
Yeah, our buddy Luke Nowacki at Pinnacle Wealth Strategies, 248-663-4748. He is going to get you on the right path so your money can make money for you. We've seen these lows. And anytime the market drops, you know what it does? It pushes back up to new record highs. See if you need to be in equities, bonds, whatever it is. Give Luke a call. Get on the right path. It's Luke Nowacki, Pinnacle Wealth Strategies, 248-663-4748.
Because when you call Luke, he won't be a treasonous person like some people we know. He'll make it all about you.
Do you have a bell for that?
Oh, way to interrupt the disclaimer.
No, do you have a bell for that, like the Kilpatrick? With
I
the
can.
treasonous?
Do you want one?
Yeah, please.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates Inc.
Better?
Fantastic. And
Fabulous.
If you contact any of our sponsors, let them know that you found out about them from our show, and you can find links to their websites at our website, which is mlsoulofdetroit.com. So now let's get to our guest. Derek is just off the air at Fox 2.
Literally walked off set.
And as I look out the window in our studio, it looks like, once again, you nailed that forecast.
Always do, ML.
100%.
Always do.
I remember we had a backyard beer party, and I said, Derek, we're going to put the band on the deck, which is covered, or down in the driveway. And he said, no chance of rain. I said, not even 0.1%. He said, 0.000% chance
And what
of rain.
happened?
It rained 3 times, and he never showed up.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Max was there. Max got rained on.
When was that?
I told you we're going to discuss that with Derek after the show in the parking lot.
Was it 2019? It could have been 2019.
Oh, that was
huh?
your fault.
Yeah.
It was a few years. It was
All right.
pre-COVID.
How much do meteorologists hate that joke about, you never have to be right?
Be wrong all the time and still get paid?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We all, you say that to any meteorologist, and we're going to laugh at it because we're, obligated to.
Yes,
but
there's a
we've all
morals
heard it
clause.
100 times.
What else do
Like
viewers
a friend
get
of mine
wrong?
is a vet, and he says every time he goes to somebody's house, they say, "What's this lump on my dog?" You know, you when you're a vet, there's just things that are going to happen when you get in a room because people. But you guys have a sunny disposition.
What people like to do is they want to ask about something that's happening 4 months down the road. My daughter's getting married in May, which is 6 months from now. Is it going to rain? How are you going to answer that?
Just say yeah.
No, I always say no. I always say weather's going to be beautiful.
No.
It's going to be beautiful.
No, they ask a dumb question, they're going to get a bad answer, right? That's how I look at
Why
it.
can't you do like the politicians and change and just say you're worried about the weather? That guy's cheating on her, and then just leave the room.
I'm learning. See, I'm glad I'm here. I'm making notes. I've got some tricks and tips. Yep.
What else do viewers get wrong regarding weather reports?
What do you mean?
Well, okay, so I heard him, and tell me if I'm wrong, but when there's like a 30% chance of rain, it doesn't mean that there's a 30% chance of rain. It means that 30% of the area is going to get rain.
No, see, that's wrong.
That's wrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
see, that's the thing that's wrong, and that's the thing that's been going on TikTok in the last month. It's been
Really?
trending. Yeah.
For the record, I don't have TikTok.
Okay. But people think because somebody said that if there's a 30% chance of rain, 30% of the area is going to get rain. That's not true. Some people think, 30% of the day it will rain. That is not true.
It's just likelihood.
What
Who
is
are
true
these
is
people?
in your GPS located spot, in this house, there's a 30% chance that it will rain at this spot.
That's what it's always been.
It's as simple as that.
Okay.
No, people are making it complicated.
Which means it's more
Dicks.
likely than not it won't rain.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, there's a 70% chance it won't rain.
Yeah.
I'm an optimist. That's
Why don't
me.
you say that?
What can I tell you?
70% chance it won't rain.
I should start saying that. That's a good tip.
You could be yeah.
Well, it's for a treacherous son of a bitch. You're pretty helpful, except to America. Ding.
Oh, yeah. sorry,
Mark,
forgot
can you
about that.
control him?
No. That's your job.
Oh, I love that.
Can our
intro.
guests control him?
I don't think anybody can. We learned at Fox 2 you cannot.
I'm an
control.
Is
uncontrollable.
that why he's not a Fox anymore?
cannot
No,
legally answer that.
there was there's something something they had called quality control that ended my career at Fox. That was.
It wasn't because you wanted a statue.
They started looking at my tapes and they said, the new guy said, "Who the
Was that
hell?
part of your
Who the
contract?
hell let this guy in?" And they started saying, "I don't know, but we got to stop propping the doors open." Ding. No.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So, Sean, thanks very much. We were talking to Derek a minute ago about.
No one can ruin his momentum better than you, Sean. Well done. Well done.
Momentum is what's the word? an optimistic way to put it.
Okay, you just ruined your own momentum.
I couldn't think of the word.
No, it's great. Go ahead.
There's a
Euphemism.
90%
That was
chance
the word.
that
Okay, it
wasn't
came to
gonna
me
land
30 seconds too late. Sorry.
And ML just tried to weather.
That's why I'm a writer.
I like the weather joke, for the record. I thought it was good.
Actually, that did happen. I thought you and your dad were going to come, and then the weather kind of went to hell on us, and everybody was looking at the satellite map, and it was clear skies. It was a beautiful night.
Something happened that day because I was going to go that day.
Yeah.
But I think I was working Saturday night.
You were.
And I think I got that's exactly what happened. Yeah. I got stuck at work because of the storms. By the time it all ended, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't come.
Well,
My dad and I were going to go.
I keep wanting your dad to come by because he grew up in the neighborhood. He's a Houston Whittier guy. And so we're not that far. We're just kind of Whittier extends right down to our house. So
yeah,
we got to get him out here one of these years.
He would love it. He does talk about it all the time still. So we got to make it happen.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's 2023.
Okay.
Max will be there. And then we'll be with Max on Friday at the Magic Bag talking about ALS. Now, why are we supporting ALS? I thought it was a bad disease.
And by the way, when you say we, like it's you and me, right?
That's right. We are the MCs, the co-hosts. It's like we're like the two surviving Beastie Boys.
Man, you are just having.
I think we're supporting the ALS
Check your head.
Therapy Development Institute, if I'm correct.
So we're against ALS.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's how that works.
okay.
Last time
See,
I checked,
I
that
would
is
not have
accurate.
signed up if. I mean, I'm pro Lou Gehrig.
You would say it's like supporting women's suffrage. You gotta think about it the right way.
Well, my wife
So you're
told me that once we
supporting-
got married, I started making women's suffrage.
Oh my God, Sean, do something about him.
I don't know what to do.
Derek, can you do all the jokes at this event?
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk more about this, ML. Here.
We may have to.
I think.
This is all the raw material.
Yeah.
Yeah. This.
Oh,
this
great!
Is,
I'm glad you're using the podcast to workshop.
This is the no judgment zone. We're just spitballing. This is a brainstorming session. By the time we're there at the Magic Bag, it's just going to be all the A material.
Now, Max, you put this event together. Is this your baby?
No, this is not my baby.
Okay.
So the headliner is the 3148s, and that is Greg Jones, Jason Seifert, Ian Coote, and Tom Jones.
Tom Jones.
That incidentally, Greg is Derek's brother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how I got roped into
Okay,
it.
roped.
So where does the name come from? The 314.
3148s. It's insurance legislation about attorney fees. I'm speculating here, but I think they did it because if you win with conviction, you ask for attorney's fees. So I think it's sort of their tie-in to that, like,
And
we get our fees.
plus, the chicks
motherfucker.
dig it, right? When you say, I'm with the 3148s. Everybody's like, well, I'm going to that. So I was going to go to the Beatles, but that 3148 sounds pretty catchy.
Yeah, I don't know, the number bands thing. Maybe they grew up in like the Match.box 20, 311,
Maroon
Blink 182 era, and they were like, dude, we need a number band. I don't know.
I would also speculate that they probably never thought that they would stay together or have as much success as they did have.
Okay.
And if they knew that they would be this successful years later, they maybe would have come up with a better name than the 3148s. But now they're stuck with it.
Well, the Who changed their name. They used to be the High Points or something, weren't they? Or the Marksmen or something, like way back in the early 60s. So there's still time. If these guys, if this show launches them, if they really break out, it may be,
It may be high time to
You
change
didn't have to
that
kill
name.
his momentum there. He did it himself. Why?
it could become the Summary Dispositions or something.
The momentum
Or the
of
Directed
summary
Verdicts.
dispositions.
How about that?
I thought they should have gone with the threshold injuries. I think that sounds pretty punk rock. That's a
great
legal
name.
term, but
It's like the
mine
Crash Test
now.
Dummies, right?
We're
So-
taking that.
Oh,
You should also maybe, Max, explain. So why would a band choose a name about insurance legislation?
Because they're insurance lawyers,
There you go.
probably.
but we still expect this to be a fun night. Right?
I know, right?
I mean, I don't know if we're selling any tickets right now, but Derek and I are going to save this. Derek is, if people don't know this, tissue paper and comb. He can really blow it out, and
yeah.
I'm really good with the tambourine.
Yeah. Well, the triangle is also not a bad instrument for me.
I was thinking Luderman for that.
Yeah. We'll see if he's available.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I'm super excited about it. So Greg in the 3148s, Greg Jones, my brother-in-law, he said, hey, look, I'm thinking about putting some kind of event together to raise money for the ALS Foundation, the Therapy Development Institute. And
By the way, why ALS? Is it a personal thing to him, or is it just something he's like, this needs more money? And
that's a good question.
Well, we had discussed it because the 3 bands all have attorneys in them, and I'm in this 3rd band, Shasta Fox. And so we had these meetings early on, and I think we went with ALS because their charity was really on top of things. They just kind of were turnkey, ready to go. And I think that correct me if I'm wrong, but he may actually know somebody that has ALS as well, so there might be a personal connection there. So.
Well, it is a nasty
the worst,
thing.
yeah.
I mean, your body deteriorates, your mind stays sharp. And there is a Detroit tie-in because Lou Gehrig, the Iron Horse, took himself out of the lineup for the Yankees in Detroit. He was staying at the Westin Book well, it wasn't the Westin then, but he was staying at the Book Cadillac, and he wrote a note on stationery from the hotel to the manager of the Yankees. Said, "Coach, I don't think I'm the best guy for the team today," and never played again.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Well, that's kind of the opposite of how he got the job, huh? From Wally Pipp?
Yeah, Wally Pipp's like,
Exactly.
he's like, "I got a toothache," and he's like, "Well, sit down." He's like, "Yeah, what the
and
hell?"
I will never miss a game ever again.
Yeah, exactly.
Until he missed the game, and then he never played again. That's a heck of a story.
And if Pip could have hung on for like 20 years, he'd have got back in there.
Right.
But it didn't work out that way.
I wonder why. So why do they go away from the name Lou Gehrig's to ALS? I mean, I mean, not that you're. I'm just spitballing. Like, I wonder why, because it got a lot of attention when it was Lou Gehrig, and then it's ALS, and I don't know how many people really know what that is.
Well, what does ALS stand for? Autoimmune something syndrome?
It's the official, yeah.
Where's Patrick when we need him?
He's sitting right behind you. He probably
doesn't have a
where's our
mic, though.
intern with the research? You got us
Exactly.
that thing about colors and music and stuff.
But they say it's.
He's still hungover from last night's listener party at the Cadger Cafe.
They say it's curable. It just needs more research, more money, which is like a lot of diseases, I suppose. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those diseases where you just need completely round-the-clock care. So, I mean, that really adds up.
Well, have you guys ever seen the Steve Gleason documentary, who played football? Well, you
For New Orleans.
where you used to work.
Yeah, so I lived and worked in New Orleans for 4 years, and Steve Gleason was a huge figure down. It still is a huge figure
Got a
down in New
statue
Orleans.
outside of the Superdome because he blocked the kick after
Katrina. So it was one of the first games after Katrina, and he blocked a punt. They scored, and they won the game. It was a huge deal, and the city of New Orleans rallies around their football team so much.
Yeah.
So Steve Gleason is a beloved figure. He may be more beloved down there than Drew Brees, and he suffers from ALS.
Yeah.
And he is he's alive, and he is living life, but it is a terrible disease.
Have you seen the documentary?
I've not.
It's. I mean, it'll make the toughest guy tear up because it is just amazing. You know, he had a kid after he was diagnosed, and this is a guy with a lot of resources too because of who he is and what he did. But he's got the computer that speaks for him with his own voice.
Yep.
So I highly recommend it if anybody wants to see just how terrible ALS is, which I don't know why you would want to do that. So,
But-
instead you can go rock out and have fun and raise money for a charity.
So Patrick is on the job. He says ALS stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis.
Lou Gehrig's easier to say.
I think that's what they're going to call the 3148s.
The Lou Gehrig's?
Lou Gehrig, the Lou Gehrig band. Or how about the Iron Horses?
That's actually a great name.
Now, I'm only working this gig for free, so if I piss off the headliners and they're like, well, welcome our MC, Derek Kevra.
Right, exactly. That's why they got two of us. So if one of us screws up enough, they're like, you're out.
There's some redundancy in there, so it's like, okay.
How did they ask you to get involved, ML? I'm curious your side of it.
They saw a statue.
I was standing by the side of the road it was shortly after the city council campaign. I had one of those little cardboard signs, and they said, well, we don't have any food or any work for you because, who would hire you in their right mind? And they said, but we do have this event coming up. And I said, is it inside? And they said, yeah. And I said, will there be a green room? And they said, yeah. And I said, can I get in the green room? And they said, yeah, after all the bands are done, having food and eating, doing things to groupies and probably filing motions to try and get attorney's fees. They said, then you can get in the green room. And I said, that's great. I'll do it. Now I got a job, so I'm kind of reconsidering.
I think you're
Matt
getting 2 drink tickets too, man.
Oh, am I?
That's the real reason.
Shit, yeah.
You think I could have your 2 as well as my 2?
Maybe one each.
Yeah, right.
That may be a thing. It's like, again, these are the things we have to work out.
You don't play an instrument, do you, ML?
I'm a terrible piano player and a slightly worse saxophone player.
Okay, so no. And you don't play an instrument, do you?
I wish I did. I don't.
Don't play it well.
I tried to learn the piano, actually, when I lived in New Orleans, because I was surrounded by music.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, I should learn something. And I didn't.
Yeah.
That's tough, though. That's an intimidating place. That's like saying, "Oh, I see a lot of people playing basketball. I think I'll try it with the Lakers in the late '70s." Like, no, go try it. In Cleveland, where everybody's like, "Yeah, you could probably make the squad."
Right.
I mean, Preservation Hall. Did you ever go to Preservation Hall when you were there?
I did. Love Preservation Hall. Standing room in the back. I think there's only like 20 people.
You're
in
always
there.
standing.
Great.
Yeah. Speaking of
In the
basketball,
Garden District, and
I
the little
lived
clubs there.
so I lived uptown, which is just a bit west, technically, of the Garden District.
Okay.
Great. Great place in New Orleans. A lot of people think New Orleans, they want to go to Bourbon Street.
Yeah, gross.
And for the record, when I first went in for the interview, that's the first spot I wanted to go.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then
Think
you
a
learn.
hurricane, get thrown up on by a kid from Tulane.
Exactly. You take one wrong step and your foot is ankle deep in urine on the
But
side.
if you go a block towards the river from there, it's just awesome.
Yeah, you're on
you
Royal
get
Street.
lost. Yeah.
Jackson Square right there.
Yeah.
Mississippi River. It's beautiful.
So you miss it? You miss?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to come home.
Yeah. I'm from here, born and raised in Livonia, and just the job. The TV world. You go where the work is, and so when I graduated college, I graduated from Michigan. Go Blue. Are we gonna?
Yeah.
Are you gonna know? You're not
Yeah,
gonna?
no, I like how
He's got that block.
blue
M
and yellow
behind him.
come together and make
Well,
green.
I love ML, and when I worked with him, loved him. But
Yeah.
boy, oh boy, did he drive me nuts.
He's kind of a dick with the whole
on
thing.
Saturdays.
Yeah.
All these pictures. It was when Michigan State just beat us every freaking year. And every year he would take a picture of himself in the stadium, like a real condescending
Well, never
selfie.
It was exuberant. It was naked
Oh
exuberance.
yeah, 2015 picture wasn't condescending.
Yeah, no, and you would all your captions would always be it would be so condescending, and it was just like, I'm just trying to have a good time, something like that.
You know what he always says to me?
When you condescend to people who went to U of M, that's really condescending.
He's doing it right
There you
now.
go.
Because they actually have a master's program in that.
He also is like, oh, these Michigan fans they're such assholes on Twitter. I'm like, well, maybe it's because of what you say first. You're poking that bear.
For sure, he swats a beehive and he gets mad that the bees attack him.
Yeah.
Well, I was always told that they were bigger and better, and they should probably let that roll off their back. But I'm glad to have debunked that theory as well.
Derek, back
Almost
to you
do.
had a story. You started a story about basketball and where you lived.
Oh,
Thanks,
I
Sean.
think one of the last times that you and I were drinking together was the day of the Channel 2, Channel 4 basketball game. And that was the day that I tore my ACL.
Yeah, and Derek, for the record, very good basketball player. I should be the guy trying out for Cleveland, but he could give the Lakers a run.
That is not true at all, but that's kind of you to say.
No, you're a very good basketball player, and Randy Wembley, man, he took that game over.
That guy's
man.
great.
Yeah.
But I tore my ACL in the middle of the game.
Ooh.
And I know. And I had no idea that I did it because it didn't hit all of those classic ACL tear check boxes. So the game ends, and typically it was tradition that we would all go out to the bar afterward. But for some reason, I think it was just you, me, and one other person. But we still went to the bar, and we still had some beers.
Oh, yeah.
And I sat there with ice on my knee. Remember this?
That's right, yes. And I think, weren't you going on vacation? You're just about to get...
I was going on vacation 5 days later. My wife was
Europe or
so...
something.
Yes. My wife was so mad.
Yeah. So
There was no sympathy when I got home. And on the trip, by the way. On the trip, it was like, if you complain about it, I'm leaving you.
We've all been there, right? Haven't we?
Yeah, so Derek's a gamer, man. And I think we won that league.
We did. We won.
That's the most important thing.
The beers tasted good.
That's right.
They always do when you win.
You kept playing on a torn ACL?
I almost went back in. I did not.
Okay.
No. I didn't know it was torn. Somebody's wife there was she worked at like a knee place, and she told me, she's like, you do not do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I listened.
No, that was one of those things where it's like, boy, you're going on a big trip, and that game can get a little chippy. It's not. I would say it's not as physical now that LeDuff doesn't play.
Yeah, nobody. Yeah,
Because-
that's fair. That's a fair thing.
That's always one of those things. Like, it looked like somebody poked out Devin Skillion's eye in this charity game. And Charlie's like, hey, don't get your eye in front of my finger. You won't get it poked out. That's the game. And then he runs around in his jorts. And everybody goes, Charlie.
That checks out.
And he
That
takes
checks.
pictures, and it's an interesting event. But you were in Oregon before
Yes.
New Orleans, and then New Orleans to Detroit. What
Yes.
made you decide to leave New Orleans? I mean, I left Chicago because
No, you already asked the question.
The job had
You
kind
can
of
stop.
maxed out,
It's
but
not
I
about
also
you.
had just gotten
You
married,
asked
had a
the question.
kid,
You
and
can
Chicago.
Let it go.
Hold on a second. You know what they do to traders. But in Chicago, when you're about 30 and you just get married and you have a kid and you stay in Chicago, you probably won't stay married and see the kid. You left New Orleans at about the same. I mean,
Same reason-ish. All my family, I got 3 sisters. So one of them married to Greg, who's in the 3148s, why we're here.
The Lou Gehrig Band.
Right, right. But 3 sisters are all here. Everybody was married, started to get pregnant. I was dating my longtime girlfriend, knew the direction that it was heading, and I thought, I want to, Michigan's a very family-friendly spot, and there's so many great things here, and I knew I wanted to get back home. And the job opened up at Fox 2, and I applied, and I got it, and it was a no-brainer. I mean, I miss New Orleans. I don't regret leaving at all. This is where I'm supposed to be.
And you met your wife in New Orleans?
I met my wife in Oregon.
In Oregon?
Yes.
Okay. So she came to Michigan from Oregon.
So we met, we worked together there in Oregon, and then she moved with me down to New Orleans.
Okay.
And she's not in TV. So
Okay.
she actually works for nonprofit, so she's kind of bounced from nonprofit to nonprofit. Her current nonprofit is One Goal in Chicago, for what it's
okay.
worth. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of it. And yeah, we moved back up here together, got married, had 2 kids. That leads us to right now.
Here's a weird question. Did you always want to be a TV weatherman? Which is, I don't know if that's a pejorative term.
So I did not. I did not. So a lot of meteorologists have the story about, like, when I was 6 years old, a thunderstorm, I was so scared and I had to learn all. It's not me.
That's probably a lie. Whoever tells that story anyway.
So for me, I went to school at Michigan for engineering.
Really?
And so freshman year engineering, they have a course where every week is a different branch of engineering. So 1 week was mechanical, 1 week was electrical, 1 week was industrial, 1 week was atmospheric. And the atmospheric, the department was AOSS, Atmospheric Oceanic Space Science. We did very little oceanic work. They just did not want the acronym to be ASS.
Yeah.
So they threw that in. So atmospheric.
Save that for the football coach.
Atmospheric Oceanic Space Science, studied meteorology. That was my concentration. So when I did that course freshman year, I thought, that's pretty cool. Started studying that. I was like, what am I going to do with this? And it was then that I realized that my skill was giving the group presentation.
Okay.
So everything was group college. It's all group work based. My job was giving the presentation. And I thought to myself, well, how am I going to do weather and present? Oh, I'll do TV.
Oh, wow.
So that's how it kind of came together.
Huh. So this is one of the things that I think I just learned recently, that you can become a meteorologist at U of M.
Yeah.
But there's no communications program, whereas there's a communications program at Michigan State, but you can't become a meteorologist. Isn't it?
Exactly right.
So this really must be more science-based.
They got rid of my major at Michigan. I didn't even know about it.
Is there a communications one?
That's what I did, yeah.
Oh, you know what? They just stopped advertising. You're like the O in
I know, I'm the last
AOSS. They're like, Fell-Hauer got a
I think they got rid of a lot of their
maybe the
broadcasting.
journalism degree they don't have
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't think they have a journalism degree.
And in the weather department, so ML, you're right on the money. There's no class in the meteorology department that is broadcast at all. It is all research-based. It is all physics-based. Everybody that does it, there's very few of us that went to U of M that go into TV. It's true. Most people go into the National Weather Service, or they go work for NOAA hurricane hunters, or they go work for a weather model agency where they work on weather models. There's only maybe one person per class. I was the only one in my class that went into TV.
Did you ever do that stuff, though, like hurricane hunt, or, they fly the plane in there? Did you ever get a chance to do that, or chase a tornado?
We had a class offered during the summer where you could go out to the Great Plains and chase tornadoes. I'm not interested in that.
What?
I'm not interested.
Why?
I don't know why.
Oh, that'd be a blast.
Because it's dangerous. And you're in an SUV with dorks who want to get sucked up by a twister. That doesn't sound good. And there's got to be a BO factor in there too, and
I'm sure.
a lot of Red Bull and those
Get over
cheese
yourself.
peanut butter crackers.
What are you talking about?
One of the women that I graduated with became a hurricane hunter, and this happened, I think, either last year or the year before. First, I don't know how it happened. I butt dialed her while I was pulling weeds in my backyard. And all of a sudden I hear hello, and I answer the phone, and I'm like, oh, hey, Lisa, I'm sorry, I butt dialed you. She goes, I'm in an airplane flying into a hurricane right now. Do you need anything? And I go, no, but can I call you for the news tomorrow? And she goes, sure. So then we had her on the news, and she was part of the first all-female hurricane hunter crew.
Really?
And she was on the plane right then.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I know. So
Nice.
sometimes butt dials work out.
She had time to answer the phone, though. That's kind of weird.
I know, that is odd,
I mean,
right?
she wasn't flying the plane, I suppose.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of, but you wouldn't want to do that either.
No, I got no desire to. I remember
You don't get off on the disaster porn of weather. But don't give me that look, Sean.
I really enjoy
Trader.
tracking severe weather, and
Yeah.
when a tornado's on the ground, I like to explain where it is, where it's going, what's
To help
happening.
people.
Yeah, I don't.
Exactly,
I have
Mark.
no desire to chase it down. I don't want to be in the path of it.
Why are you coming down on me?
He wants to help people.
Well, I'm not going to stop the weather as it's happening, but maybe I can help
You
people
want
if
to
I'm on the
watch
ground.
people get
I don't.
sucked up into the
What are you
vortex and
talking-
torn
How well
apart.
do you know me? That's not what I want to do.
So
I want to say I respect
And eat popcorn while
I
you're doing
respect the massive power of it, and I think it's fascinating to see it.
And Twizzlers.
Is it motivated by the fact you just like don't want to be injured and killed by the weather?
Yeah, after tearing the ACL, I learned it ain't that fun.
Yeah, and the ACL was the least part of the injury. The wife on the Europe trip, that's where you saw those gale force winds coming at you.
Came right at
you
me.
did what? And when a TV guy's hair moves, you know the winds are high.
That is true.
Hey, what other weather myths can you bust for us that everybody accepts as being normal? Like, I don't know, particularly with lightning, I feel like there's a lot of, they say you can't take a shower, right, during
I
a
was just gonna
thunderstorm, which
say.
I think is true. You're not supposed to.
So down in New Orleans, we had this little
Why
old
do they
lady.
call it a thunder shower then?
oh, jeez.
We had this little old lady who would call us on the daily, and she would say, and she had that Louisiana accent. She'd say, "Hi, is it safe for me to take a shower every day? Is it safe for me to take a shower?" Every day, yes, it's fine to take a shower. I mean, there is something
should
to be
put
said
that in
about
your report.
not being on a corded phone back in the day was a thing.
Yeah.
Because if your house
right.
took a hit, then the energy could.
Is that still true with the shower thing, or is that just all bullshit?
So I'm going to say it's not true, and then someone's going to send me some article that says
it
it is
happened one time?
Right. It is exceedingly rare for
Yeah.
something bad to happen.
Exceedingly.
Yeah.
It's still a bad idea to be outside naked in the rain running around with like a golf club.
Yeah, I thought we talked about you stopping that,
That's why I stopped golfing.
Yeah.
I still run around naked in the rain, though.
but not with the golf club.
That's why the population of Detroit's been going down. They're like, it's raining again. Here comes that dude.
Comes ML and his 3-wood.
And it looks like he's Irish. Yeah, no, it's not a driver, I'll tell you that. But
Well, people
More of a
just
putter.
died in.
still good on the greens.
Oh, God. Are you done with your set? People just died.
This is. You'll see some of this on Friday if you come out to the Magic.
No, you're going to go see the good bands. And they're
In
not coming
fact, the
for your
more
bad
you
jokes.
donate, the less will be on stage. How
That's a
about
good. I like that.
That's how you
Bid
do it.
us right
You
off.
stay on
And
stage
we will
yeah.
accept drink tickets
Oh, yeah, I mean, because those
Yeah.
two are going to go fast.
real quick.
But didn't 3 people just die outside the White House of all places, getting
Yeah.
struck by lightning? I mean, is there something odd about that?
Lightning. No. But when you're outside during a lightning storm, I mean, there's a risk for anything to happen. I mean,
Sure.
crazy things happen all the time.
Sure.
What I always tell whenever I go to like a school and kids ask, oh, I'm so scared with the lightning. Just go inside. You're fine. You go in your house, you're fine. Those people were outside, and they were in the middle of the thunderstorm. And a bolt of lightning will always try to go for the path of least resistance. Typically, it's something higher, but that voltage can come down to the ground. It can hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Plus, it was Antifa that killed those guys. The same guys who did that January 6th thing. So don't buy.
Sean, we kills
don't
momentum.
buy the mainstream media story on this.
I think I might have one for you, Mark, on the spot. Did you guys know that? So when we talk about official high temperatures for the day,
Yeah.
that all of that is taken in the shade. Every temperature for the day, high temperature today, 95 degrees. That's in the shade.
Someone made up the real feel or feels like with humidity. And
So if a thermometer is right out in the sun, you're actually getting the temperature of that piece of plastic or that piece of glass, the mercury. You're not getting the air temperature, the ambient air temperature. So everything's taken in the shade. So whenever, like yesterday was 90 degrees, in the sun, it probably was legitimately 98.
Yeah.
I don't know. That wasn't as good as a.
no,
That makes sense because when I get in my car and I see what the temperature is in the car, I'm like, I know it's hot out, but it's not 95 degrees
That's
out.
right.
But it's got a black interior and it's been sitting in the sun, so.
Well, your car doesn't have a thermometer in it, by the way.
Oh.
It has a thermistor, and a thermistor translates
here we go.
ohms translates ohms to temperature. So they've got an
that
algorithm.
means.
Yeah. So like it
Max,
translates.
do you have any idea what that means? No.
What means
Exactly. Anything he just said.
Yeah, Max is like, it's not the voltage, it's the amperage that'll kill you.
That's right.
Whatever
There you
that
go. You
means.
got it.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Humidity, is the heat better with humidity or dry? Because you hear this all the time.
How old are you, 90?
I'd rather be in Arizona where it's dry. I'm not saying
It's
me,
a
but you
dry
hear that
heat.
all the time.
We
it's
like
a
it when
dry
you're in
heat.
Arizona, too.
I'd rather be in Florida where it's wet heat. What's tell
Did you
us
say
which is
Arizona wet heat?
better. No.
If he said
Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
Tell us which is better. Just tell us
Dry
which is
heat.
better.
Dry heat's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dry heat's better.
I was
Sweat
I was
better.
driving through Death Valley in 1999. My car broke down in Baker, California,
Not a good spot.
which is
for it to
weird
break down.
because that's where Hunter S. Thompson broke down in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And they boasted the world's largest thermometer. And I remember looking up at this thing and it was 120. And I remember thinking, it's not that hot. I mean, it was hot, but because it was so dry, it wasn't as bad. It's like, because Michigan's like a swamp.
Plus the shrooms helped, right?
Yeah.
Or
That was
All the
later.
amyl nitrate and,
be more of a meth guy.
and the gas. So I got to take Derek back to college because Michigan, some people get out of Michigan and they do okay. You're the only guy to go through that program in your class and
Yes.
become a television meteorologist, scientist, newsman, all that good stuff. What are the other careers that people go into for that? Because there must be a future for people other than broadcasting if you're going to get that degree. And I've been told, and I believe it's true, that if you get into the Michigan engineering program, it is actually higher ranked than Princeton and all these Ivy League. I mean, they're getting. The kids who don't go to Michigan State Engineering go to Michigan and they do very well.
So, best man at my wedding, my best friend, he is a instructor at the Air Force Academy, teaches meteorology at the Air Force Academy. So he's in the Air Force.
He's telling Maverick whether he can fly
That's
or not.
the Navy.
Oh,
So,
I did go to Michigan State, by the way.
so he is an instructor. He teaches meteorology at the Air Force Academy. Another one, I told a story about Lisa. She's
Actually, the
a
Air
hurricane
Force
hunter.
guys tell Maverick you can't fly because we're the Air Force.
That's right.
That didn't save it. Let him
Yeah,
keep
no,
talking,
that wasn't a
please.
save.
One of my buddies is a
Howard.
college professor, so he teaches. Another one of my friends works for the National Weather Service, and then one other person developed his own computer modeling website with his own weather model, and people subscribe to that, and it seems like he's doing fine.
And so there are corporate applications for all this stuff where you can get
Yes.
gigs where
Yes.
the idea is I'm never going to be on TV. I'm never going to work for National Weather Service. I am going to make a career where I tell people. Well, Luderman was in the
He was in the Air Force as well.
Air Force, right? So
Yeah.
he kind of started from giving people information that was never going to be broadcast, and then
There are meteorologists that are on staff at major oil corporations for will a hurricane get into the Gulf of Mexico, because then we have to shut down the oil rigs or they get damaged and they need to get fixed. So there are meteorologists in positions that sometimes you wouldn't even think about.
Just like economists, right? Every big corporation's going to have their own economists.
Right.
If the weather's going to affect them, yeah, makes sense.
I want to get one of those gigs as a futurist.
Yeah.
Where you just kind of say,
Oil
well, in the
futures,
future, everybody's going to be in flying cars. And they're like, how do you say? Just trust
Well, then
me on
you
this.
can be wrong,
and
just
then
like a meteorologist.
you just got to get another job 20 years later when they're like, where's the flying cars? What happened to that guy? He's working with somebody else. You got
My go-to joke, by the way, on that is people say, you got the only job where you can be wrong half the time and still get paid. And I said, have you ever watched an NFL football game?
Yeah.
Those officials are wrong all the time.
Yeah.
And the coaches and the guys who hire the coaches and the guys who do the drafting.
I say, hey, do you ever listen to the Soul of Detroit, the podcast?
Always
by
wrong.
Admiral?
Always wrong.
Made some major mistakes. I was like, I got this buddy, mine Sean, might be a good addition to the show.
That's kind of our hook.
No, I was not. I shouldn't
I know,
be
that's
here.
what I'm saying. That was
I
one
should
of those
not be here.
mistakes. That was
I keep waiting for you to, let me go, so to speak.
I can't.
And you won't do it. You won't free me.
No, you're like that.
You won't liberate me.
You're like that loose tooth,
It's just dangling.
full of pus
Oh, well, thank you.
and hatred for America.
Okay.
So Derek, you guys, when you're in the office, you guys knew what I was doing when I was in my office on the other side of the wall, because you'd often say,
I miss you on that side of the wall, by
I
the
just
way.
say the snoring is getting really loud today. I'm like, sorry about that. But when you guys are in there, I think people figure, well, they're just getting ready for their next hit. They're just doing what. How much are you guys actually figuring out what's going to happen. I mean, it's not like you're just tapping into the Associated Press and they have a bulletin. It's like, oh, the AP reports it's going to rain. I'll go out there and read this piece. I mean, are you guys actually forecasting and looking at models? And
Well, before I answer that, let me ask you, could you hear us on the other side of the wall?
No, because of my snoring.
Great.
It
I can say whatever I
kept
want
me
then.
awake. But yeah.
We all put together our own forecast. That is a misnomer. People think, well, you guys just get to work and you go to weather.com, right? No, everybody at Fox 2 is a degreed meteorologist, went to school for weather.
But isn't that misnomer because don't most of the measurements come from the government?
Well, he's not in
No.
the atmosphere.
Okay.
I mean,
there are places like the airport.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got it's called an ASOS site. I'm trying to explain it better. It's an automated weather site that is run by the government.
Okay.
Yes, but there are models that exist. Some of them are government-made models. Some of them are private models.
Yeah.
Some of them are universities. Colleges have their own models. And what my job is to look at all of those
All the data and
say, nah, this one's not quite right. We're going to take it out. This one looks a little bit closer. And then to say, given what's actually happening, given what the models are saying, this is what I think. So there are days where I'll come into work and Longstreet will just have finished his broadcast. I'll sit down and I'll look, and I might disagree a little bit.
Good.
And I'll update the forecast, and if I'm doing my job right, I'll explain why I've changed things.
So it's all just disseminating the data and figuring out,
Yeah.
based on your degree and your experience, what's going to happen.
And experience is huge, especially in a certain region where I'm from here, Alan's from here, Lori's from here, Rich is from here. We all kind of know what's going to happen when you see this squall line coming off Lake Michigan. It's important that Rich is so good. When Rich will look at something sometime and say, that ain't going to happen. and I'll disagree, and he'll be right.
He's the captain. Right?
He's the captain. He's been here 25 years. The guy knows what he's doing.
So when you watch another weather report, let's say it's not on Fox 2, and you're watching it.
They do weather reports not on Fox?
I've heard.
Yeah,
do you watch? Well, one
they
channel.
do wrong weather reports.
One channel's
That's the
had a
kind
lot
they
of
do.
fluctuation in their weather presenters. Do you watch it for how they present it, or for their forecast and go, that's bullshit? You know what I mean? Because when I listen to radio, it's more about how they present it and what they do.
You keep an eye on everybody. I mean, anybody who tells you that they don't watch the other stations.
Bullshit,
And you're doing it for competitive reasons. You know, what are they showing? What are they highlighting? If a severe thunderstorm warning pops up, or how are they handling it? You know, it's an important part of what we do. Probably just a competitive nature.
All right, more dumb weather questions. Heat lightning, is that a thing?
Heat lightning is not a thing. Heat lightning is lightning you see from a thunderstorm far away.
Okay.
So the speed of sound and the speed of light are two different things. You know, speed of light is a lot faster. So there are in the way that sound waves propagate. You know, it's like that.
I'm not a child. I
Right.
knew that.
Okay, great.
But it's not a thing. I mean, that was
Mike didn't know it. So
Heat lightning
Explain it.
is
He got a
simply
communications degree from Michigan. Break it down for
heat
us.
lightning is simply lightning far enough
away,
away. The
yeah.
sound doesn't make it to your ear, but the sight does.
All right, now the counting, I'm sure there's a mathematical equation. Is it really 1 mile for every second?
Yeah, I don't know if it's 1-to-1. I did a thing about this a little. You can do it that way, and that's fine. It's not inaccurate to do the count.
I'm just trying to think of what other lies we've been told when we were younger that aren't. Now we know heat lightning is a lie.
Was it possible for Andy Dufresne to have timed the lightning strikes
question.
at the end of Shawshank
Shawshank?
Redemption?
great question.
Yes.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I just gave you both answers. You see, that's an experienced meteorologist.
Could you time it?
What would Luderman say?
Yeah. Luderman could do it. Yeah.
That's what I want to know. So
He has done it.
So do you guys each, and the women, have your own methodology where there's some sites or says there's some patterns you see that would cause you to give a different forecast than
Yeah.
one of your
I
colleagues?
already answered that.
Yeah.
No, but I'm getting to this. So, okay, so if there's that, then I wonder, internally, do you guys kind of keep score? You know, like when you see the sports writers, like, oh, Wojo's 7-9, you know, and somebody else, John Niles, whatever, and you're sitting there saying like, Lori's 2-10 this week, and looks like this is a Kevra week. I'm, undefeated, and Luderman's like, I'm 5-5, but I kind of, was distracted.
No, not really. I mean, I use the forecasters before me their forecast as a data point.
And things change, right? So
Of course
I mean,
they do.
What Alan says in the morning by 11, 10 o'clock.
Of course. And when I go to a lot of schools and talk to a lot of kids, and I always tell these kids, because inevitably somebody will raise their hand and say, my dad says you guys are always wrong. And I'm like, great.
Your dad's a dick.
Yeah.
I'll answer the rest of it.
But what I say to them is I go, listen, if I asked you to tell me exactly what your best friend's day is going to look like today, you'd have a general idea. You know,
Sure.
he wakes up at 7 o'clock. He gets to the bus at 7:30. First class is at 8:10. Second class is at 9:10. You know a general idea. What happens if he misses the bus? The rest of the day is all screwed up. What happens if he gets called to the principal's office and something happens? Everything you thought was going to happen no longer is going to happen. And that's what weather forecasting can be like. You can know a general idea, but then at 9 o'clock, something different happens with the atmosphere, and it screws up everything else.
What years were you in New Orleans? Were you there pre-Katrina, during Katrina?
I was
or
after Katrina.
Right after it, okay.
Yeah, so I was there 2009 to 2013.
Now, do you find stories like that fascinating at
Yes.
all? I mean, you don't want because you don't want to be out in it, but
Well, I was in 2 hurricanes when I was there. I worked 2 hurricanes when I was in New Orleans.
so you were that guy out
I was
in
the-
a full
well, I was in-
Gore-Tex outfit, and
I was in studio.
okay,
So the reporters were out. I was in studio. And the way that it worked in ML, you kind of know, TV, but what they would say, because once you get into hurricane coverage, you're on 24/7.
yeah.
There's not even a commercial break.
Or a tornado watch, or was it watch or warning?
Warning.
I can never remember which one is worse, but there's one that's like cancel programming. We're going
Warning.
Yeah.
Yep. And in fact, if I remember right, wasn't there one tornado warning where you were helping Rich?
I was with Luderman, and it hit at about 11:45 or something. I was finishing up some, because I worked some pretty crazy hours, and I'm watching the programming, and I think they broke into TMZ or something, and it got canceled. And Luderman, and it's the same stuff, and I
That's got to be the hardest thing is
and I
killing
thought,
time.
Well,
during
yeah.
it.
So he's on for like an hour, and I'm thinking, I'm kind of bummy because I'm not going to be on the air. So I'm like, well, maybe I should tell him I'm here and I can help out. And I thought, nah, it's going to wrap up, and it didn't. And so I finally called the newsroom because I was in the back part of the building. I said, I'm here and I've got a suit. I can get on.
You want
I
people
can
to see
and
you?
they said, yeah. So I put on my suit, and it was me and Luderman for like 2. We were never on camera. It was just weather maps the whole time.
Yeah.
And he was just describing the action, but he was doing a great job. But how do you fill an hour
You got to have a personality.
and he does. He's
And you
got
got to know. You got to have the knowledge. And that's why it's important that, back in the day, the weather person was the goofy weather person. That's a silly jokester.
Sonny Elliott.
So, yeah, we all,
Sure. And so,
Sonny
and
Elliott's
hopefully he didn't
badass.
tell some of his best stories on the air. Because
Yeah,
if anybody
exactly.
knew Sonny Elliott,
He's a badass.
Safe Harbor wasn't safe enough for this guy.
Exactly.
He
Yeah.
was an old combat veteran who knew every blue joke
Yep.
ever told.
Well, like Luderman.
So
comment.
back then, he's got a perfectly orchestrated.
His military career is spotless. He would as soon as he got into a new town or new base, he'd say, "When is mass?" and he'd go to church.
That's
and
right,
he'd
yes.
brief the
Still to
generals.
this day.
And then he would do some Bible study.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, what were we talking about?
Killing time.
There's a fog of bullshit here.
Oh.
We can't see. So
Yes. So when we did hurricane coverage, they would just tell you, they'd say, I need you to go 20 minutes. Okay. They'd talk 20 minutes. And then they would throw to an anchor, I need 20 more minutes. Okay. And we would do that 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Now, there was one hurricane that came. Usually these hurricanes, they come one day as they're coming, about a day as they're hitting, and then you're done. Now, this particular one came, and it sat off the coast of Louisiana for 5 days.
Ooh.
So we did this for 5 days.
Oh man.
But isn't there kind of an adrenaline rush too?
Absolutely.
Until like day 3 or 4, and
Yeah.
then you're just kind of exhausted by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. There was a tornado on Christmas Day when I was down there. Only guy in the building because it was Christmas Day. I was on for 2.5 hours by myself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just tracking it.
Do you still have the tape of it? Do you ever watch it?
No, I should.
You'd probably
Highlight reel?
You'd be so mad at yourself. You just look back.
So the way we broke things up with Luderman was, I know nothing about the weather.
No, but you can talk.
Well, no, I just ask questions. I just ask every
Kinda like
question.
we're doing
and I
now.
thought like, tornado watch, tornado. What's that mean? Why is this circular? And Rich is, this guy knows everything. So it allowed me to be the idiot at home who's like, why are we still watching? He said, because when this happens, and it's like, it was actually a lot of fun. But when we finally got off the air, he was just wiped out.
You're
because-
spent.
And, because he's not just talk, but he's looking at the models on the screens. And
Real
so
time.
he's processing it. He's trying to make sense of what it is. He wants to tell people what's going on. He wants to be responsible. He doesn't want to scare people, but he wants people to know this is not a good time to go for a drive on I-75 by Monroe when this thing is rotating by Toledo. And it was just fascinating to watch him in the same way that when you go to a TV set and you watch these guys perform in front of the green screen, if you have earplugs in, you're thinking, okay, these guys are all cracked out. But it's just amazing how they put the pieces together. And one time, Schaefer and I, when we had a partnership with Channel 7, we were there to talk about some Kilpatrick stuff. And Jerry Hodak was giving the forecast.
Love that guy.
He's walking through the newsroom with nothing, no notes, no nothing. And he must have recited the temperatures it had to be 3 or 4 dozen towns just as he's walking through the newsroom because he's off camera and he's not looking at a prompter. And I thought, he's got to be making this shit up.
Can I tell you a quick Jerry Hodak story?
Yeah.
Amazing guy.
So we had Jerry.
East Side guy.
We had Jerry on the Fox 2 Morning Show for our 25th anniversary of Fox 2 Mornings because Jerry Hodak started as the Fox 2 Morning meteorologist. Legend Jerry Hodak. I'm geeking out. I was like, Mr. Hodak, can I take a picture with you? Just told him some of the stories. I've watched you my whole life. I think you're amazing. Jerry freaking Hodak wrote me a handwritten thank you note that he mailed to the station. He wrote me.
Thank you for what? Just
Derek, so great to meet you. You were a play. I've got it. I don't obviously remember it verbatim, but it was nice to meet you. Thank you for your enthusiasm. If you ever want to get lunch sometime, I'd love to do it. But he wrote me that note.
Yeah, I had the
Legendary
same
Hodak.
experience. I was at the Journalism Hall of Fame banquet when he was inducted. Great, and the thing people don't know about Jerry Hodak is
were you being inducted?
No. I was a
But you
paying,
tried.
I was a paying customer. I was being rejected. It's the same ceremony, but not as many people there. Like my prom. But he was a guy who went to Denby High School, got into journalism. He was a street reporter during the riot. I mean, he was a raw dog street reporter going to where the action was in the heat of it. And at some point, he became the weatherman, but the most gracious guy in the world. And his wife just died recently. So think about Jerry, because they were married for a long time, an incredibly great couple. But he gave such a great speech, and it was so inspiring about journalism and everything. I wrote him a letter just saying, Mr. Hodak, I, was there, and I just want to let you know I really appreciate what you said. And he wrote me a thank you note. I was like, you wrote me a thank you note to my thank you note?
Well, so did you then write him a thank you note to the thank you note?
I'm behind. I'm on after the ALS thing.
If I know him, he's going to write a thank you note for the thank you note for the thank you note for that first thank you.
So I didn't write him one because I know his time's valuable.
Right.
That's why. It was not because I'm rude. Because I'm very courteous. Yeah, but no, what a gracious guy, but the way these guys, they manage the information, they're processing it while they're multitasking, and it's really an amazing thing to watch. So we won't have a green screen on Friday.
We won't. But do you think, Max, we could?
They have a backdrop screen, but I don't know how high tech we can.
Just to say you'll work on it.
There's a green room. I'll feel comfortable.
I'm just worried if they put a green screen up. So Derek will know what to do, and I'll do it, and I'll be moving my hands around. They'll put like boobs up there or something. I'll get in trouble. So no green screen.
The world is always out to get you.
It is a conspiracy, and of course they only go after the most important people.
That's true.
So you're safe. You don't nothing to worry about. You can sleep all night, both eyes closed.
August 12th.
August 12th at the Magic Bag. That's this Friday. You can buy tickets. I believe they're $20 in advance. $25 at the door. Jerry Hodak may be there.
We'll see.
Filling in for me. Looking for that note. He's going to show up in the middle of things. He's like, hey, I saw you two assholes on the podcast, but I didn't get that thank you note from Elric. It's like, Hodak After Dark is, I don't know. And maybe there's another side to him that no one's ever seen. But
I'm sure he's listening as we speak.
Who isn't listening right now?
Right.
Just
Max, what's the lineup? What's the band lineup again?
Yeah, tell us who's going to be there. And what are you guys playing? Because Max is in...
He's in 20 bands.
Yeah, he's in Shasta Fox, the King's English. We're going to hear more from the King's English a little later in the show. Another world premiere video for those of you watching on YouTube. And then the Smiths United, of course.
Yeah, so it's the 3148s, as we talked about. The Common
We already
Scolds.
talked about that. The Lou Gehrig Iron Horse Band.
Yep. The Common Scolds and Shasta Fox. All lawyers. That's where the not every single person in all the bands, but there's at least one lawyer in every band. That's
So watch your wallets.
Yeah, exactly. That's where the Lollapalooza thing, that's where it gets its name.
Lollapalooza.
Is that a website too? People
Yeah,
go there.
lollapalooza.org.
Max, this is a big venue for you guys to be playing, right?
Yeah,
I know
it's like
that
a 400-ish seater.
That's
It's a great venue. I love the Magic Bag.
And
Yeah.
who are the special guests?
You're going.
Yep. You guys are MCs, and then there's Cameron Ghetto, who's playing Unplugged, also a lawyer. And then Don Cummings is doing like the strongman act where he's bending railroad spikes going
Really?
for a world record, apparently.
Oh, cool. Wow.
He holds several world records already.
That's my understanding, yeah.
Yeah, the guy, I saw some pictures. The 3148 guitarist, Greg, showed me some pictures. This guy's, his hands are torn up.
Really?
And he continues to bend these pieces of metal. It's insane.
It's his job.
Yeah, I'm as curious as you guys are. I've never seen this before, so.
Damn. And I went to high school with Cameron Ghetto. And when I saw he was on this, he was a musician in high school. He was a very talented cat, but he's not ghetto at all. He's like the whitest cat you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, I'm sure he's heard a lot of jokes.
No,
about
I know,
that.
but I mean, he was just like this very low key, very talented cat in high school. Now he's a lawyer and he's playing. So I'm looking forward to seeing his set too.
That joke ML just made was Cameron's equivalent of a weather guy joke.
Yeah.
You know, heard it his whole life.
We're used to that.
chuckles.
That kind of originality is
I
what
like-
drives
I like-
this podcast.
I like how you had the rebuttal all locked and loaded when you're like,
Yeah.
that's the Navy.
Yes.
Like, you've heard that one before.
Absolutely.
Now the Army, those are the guys with the fins, right?
The Frogmen?
I don't know. I'm just digging a deep hole here. But no. But when you see the bill, I think when you see Cam Ghetto, you think it's like some clever band name. The guy's name is Cameron Ghetto.
Yeah,
That's him. He's a solo. He's
Yeah.
a solo performer. But I mean, when you see the
Right.
bill, you're like, Cam Ghetto. What is that going to be like? Some freeform thing or something? No, it's just a dude.
The dude playing acoustic guitar.
And I
It's
think,
not a tribute to Curtis Mayfield. He's not singing Ghetto Child, but
Right.
I think that would be really cool if he did.
Or the Ghetto Boys. Yeah.
Oh, also.
Am I the only one that knows the Ghetto Boys?
I know the Ghetto Boys. One of my favorite songs. My mind's been playing tricks on me.
There you go.
And I believe they have a guy in the band who's uses a wheelchair, right?
Wait, no.
In the Ghetto Boys?
There's a little person. He
Is
got
that
his
what it
eye
is?
stabbed. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the album cover where he's in the hospital after he got his eye stabbed.
Okay.
Bushwick Bill.
Bushwick Bill. That's right. He'll be on next week's episode of this. Patrick, you got to. And actually, I think the Ghetto
I'm
Boys may
sorry.
be available.
I didn't know the question about the special guest would turn into this.
Or you would have jumped in there sooner.
No,
Sean
Like
disapproves.
one of those Air Force frogmen.
No.
Is that your cue to
Max
move
said
on to
his
the next,
piece, and
segment?
I didn't realize it was gonna. Yeah.
That's your cue?
Well, we want to hear Max's song at some point, right?
All right.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited
Thanks, Sean.
the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
Where would we be without Sean?
I don't know.
The voice of reason.
Probably another hour of that.
Now that I think about it, yeah. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Very true.
Despite your treachery, which has been well documented. So our Geek of the Week is a Arizona Democrat, a woman named Kirsten Sinema, who has for 2 years now plagued the Democrats as they try and make major accomplishments in the Senate. And now that there's this big inflation buster bill, she's all of a sudden easy to deal with. She had no objections except one, where she wanted to make sure that this little tax loophole that helps all these guys who deal in equities and stocks and all the stuff that Luke would understand, but to the rest of us, just like, boy, they sure look like wolves of Wall Street to us. Anyways, there's this loophole that allows them to really skate on their tax obligation. And Sinema, who's found a reason to object to everything going on in the Senate, says, you know what, I'll be with you on this $300 or $600 billion thing. I just need you to not mess with that loophole, which is kind of a weird thing. Republicans and Democrats want to eliminate it. So why is Senator Sinema such a stick in the mud on this? Well, she won't say, But Open Secrets, which is a campaign finance watchdog website, you should check it out. You can find fascinating things about your local politicians there, reports that she received $2.2 million in donations from investment firms over the last 5 years, and that some of her biggest donors include Goldman Sachs and some other traders like this. So not like the other traders we love so much, but
a long tail on that kite.
Yeah, Sean is in the Navy. The ones the ones who fly the helicopters.
No, they actually do fly helicopters in the Navy. So
See, now we're way
Derek,
off.
check me on this one. Is that right?
He's right.
Of course
Damn
they
it!
do. I grew up in the Air Force, but yeah, go ahead.
So anyways, Cinema's not talking about why this was the only thing she really cared about. So we don't know what really motivated her, but this much we do know. She's our Geek of the Week.
That's it?
I was going to do more, but Sean was...
Yeah, good job, Sean.
He's getting ready to call in the Air Force with Maverick, and...
That's the Navy. How many times do we have to say that?
Navy. So let me get this straight. George Washington, he flew the F-14 at the end of...
F-14's in the Navy, F-15's in the Air Force.
Yeah,
They look very similar.
Actually, George Washington didn't fly planes, but
the difference, there are a
okay,
few
we'll
differences.
call it a
The
push.
F-15 has no hook to catch it as it lands on a carrier.
Oh,
there you go.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Sean.
Not really.
Okay.
Thanks for being interesting
No,
today.
not really. This is the best show we've ever had, by the way.
No, I liked it better when you and ML were yelling at each other.
No, that was the worst show
Still
we've
my
ever
favorite.
Certainly the highest rated show.
ML's mom was your mom here that day?
One of them. Yeah, one of those days.
Or was that off the air?
No, that was here.
My mom said last time she heard talk like that, it was in the Navy.
Oh, you finally got something right about the Navy.
Sailors curse a lot. Well, this is the part of the
Yes,
show
they are sailors.
that I guarantee it will be very high quality because we're turning it over to Max Prokop to talk about the latest world premiere video on our show from the King's List. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to hear and see.
So, you actually just gave us a good segue without knowing it, because the song's called Ill-Gotten Gains, and I wrote it sort of about corruption, and your little lead-in about... it looks like
I knew
she's
exactly what I was doing.
Yeah,
My mind works at a
he
level
planned
most
that
people
out.
can't ascertain.
He planned that out.
But yeah, this all just started like 5-6 years ago. I heard it on a TV show, I think, that just the term ill-gotten gains, and I had this sort of 70s crunchy sort of fuzzy riff thing going on. And I'm like, I'll do a song about corruption. It kind of just, all these different verses started coming out, and it's pretty self-explanatory, but the weird thing is that sometimes it reminds me of you, oddly enough, because you go do that
Ill-gotten gains.
You do that whole rooting out corruption type thing, and it's sort of about that.
And so that hook,
I didn't know that he did
cinema,
that.
we're watching you. That just happened. In the live version, that's going to be in the live version. This is the highly produced video, but he's Max riffs.
Did you really have to bring him into your intro?
Well, I just was like, that's an interesting segue.
You just figured because you were sitting next to him.
If you'd really gotten that communications degree from U of M, Mark, you would have realized what an elegant plot we have here. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on the airwaves, the King's English with Ill-Gotten Gains.
Ill-gotten
So that was the King's English with Ill-Gotten Gains. Now, you may
Best
remember...
room 7609 ever.
This is a segment of the show where Sean insults every artist who's not here in person. So, because remember, I was going to have Depeche Mode
I
here,
agree
and
with
I
you,
thought,
Sean.
I don't know, Sean's going to be...
Mark, did you hear what Mark just said?
He said he agrees with you.
I like it. I like it. It's just
very cool.
It's just a good, straightforward rock song.
And we don't
right?
ever get that here. So.
Yeah, it's riff rock.
Yeah. Now the
Kind
trick
of
is
like he was saying,
Hurtful.
kind of Black Sabbath-ish.
Yeah.
It feels a little rage, maybe a little. I mean, it's
Little
got
bit.
that edge to it, and the message too. You know, kind of questioning the system and
Right,
challenging
yeah, I would-
authority, which is awesome.
Yeah, I would definitely say
Not
that.
challenging
that
the weather
influence is
authority.
there.
That's a mistake.
That's right. Don't do
Paul
that.
Gross, check yourself.
Hey, real
Hallie
quickly,
Vogel,
in the-
not in this house.
In the video, was that an actual
Hallie.
bag of Coke?
yeah,
Because that was a big
bag's
bag.
empty now.
Yeah,
And will that be at the fundraiser?
That was theatrical cocaine, but
Okay. Will that be at the fundraiser? I'm just asking.
It's not a Sean question.
That's only if the fundraiser isn't successful. That's our backup plan.
So as meteorologists hate to hear like, oh, you guys are wrong 50% of the time. Do musicians, do you not like when people say, oh, that sounds like...
no, it's not an insult at all. Because, I mean, you're mentioning a lot of my heroes. For someone to compare my stuff to Black Sabbath and Rage Against the Machine, are you kidding me?
Well, you set it up that way, in fairness,
Sure.
right? You said you were going for a certain... You had a riff from the 70s kind of crunchy in your head.
Yeah, that
So
was
I was
like
listening
the
for
vibe.
that. I was trying to listen.
So are you when you're writing, are you conscious of, because there's been so many lawsuits, because so many songs are accessible to so many people that there'll be connections to other songs? I mean, are you like, oh God, that sounds too much like this, it needs to be changed?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, every once in a while, you'll be messing around with a chord or something like that, and you'll realize, oh, that's sort of already taken. But
there's only so many chords and so many orders that you can do.
Right, yeah. I actually heard something about some guy who wanted to use an algorithm to copyright like millions upon millions of melodies, so then they all become public domain.
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah. Which would be great.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe
I
the
mean-
4138 should get on that
Yeah, I'm going to talk to him.
right after the name change. Derek, what'd you think of the King's
done?
English? Now,
I thought it was great.
He's stopping the momentum again.
The,
right?
the only bummer while listening to it is the King's English. That's your other band, right?
Right. Well, they actually are playing at Lollapalooza too. But I'm the singer in both bands, so you're going to just see some members behind sort of change, but the audience won't really.
Is there a healthy
necessarily
competition
catch
between
it.
those members of those bands?
Not really.
Okay.
No, we're all friends.
Yeah.
The two drummers in the two different bands have known each other their whole lives. So
Okay.
Are you swapping out lawyers for non-lawyers, or?
I'm the only lawyer
Oh, that's right.
in any of them.
Okay,
so
very good.
Holding that whole lawyer thing down.
I like it, man. That's a solid. That's a solid.
It was
rock.
cool. It was a
And
jam.
now the video, if you're watching us on YouTube, you just watch, but the video itself is on YouTube, so people can go find it.
Yes.
And like it and subscribe to your channel, which we encourage them to subscribe to channel ML Elric, so that when we have a new show going live, you get a notification. You can click on the alert. You'll get anytime we have new content. But they should be checking out the King's English on
Most definitely
YouTube as well. And World War IV, they can see World War IV.
World War IV too. We decided not to put ourselves in it this time, which is like less painful for me to watch.
Yeah, I would never want to be in a video. Well,
Yeah.
Pearl Jam, they never like doing videos. They didn't want to be in them.
Wait a minute. Let me just get this straight. So you guys don't like watching yourself on the screen? Oh,
God, no.
No.
Can't relate.
Unlike
Can't relate.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your
Mike
whole job.
Mike does.
Do you ever get
I
uncomfortable
haven't recorded
watching
myself.
yourself? No.
Did you when you worked there?
Well, this guy.
That's all he did was watch himself.
Here's how I would get uncomfortable. I'd be like, God, I wish I did that better. God, I wish I didn't talk as much as I did. We'd see some of those Q&As with Huel and Monica, and I'm like, oh my God, when am I going to shut up?
Have you always been like that though, Derek? Where you were like totally fine in front of a camera?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just
Most people aren't, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I give these musicians a ton of credit because I got no problem being in front of a
screen,
screen or a camera. But what you guys on stage? I mean, do you ever get nervous?
Yes.
You do.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like
That's a good
once
thing. though.
once you've begun, it's fine. When I first started, the nervousness would last a bit longer, but now within the first couple minutes, it seems to go away. But the thing with music is you have the performance and the other people in the band that's sort of your safety net. Like, if you ever go to a comedy club and you just see the stage and the mic, and if somebody were like, hey, get up there and just go for like an hour, it'd be terrifying, right? I mean, I feel like the people who are really good at that, they have a special sort of gift. But with music, it's like, we have composed this.
Yeah.
Even if there's a section for improvisation, you kind of have an idea what you're going to do. So with the drummer, you're like, he's going to just hold down the engine and we're going to do what we rehearsed. You know what I mean? So that's kind of your seatbelt.
Do you practice those moments where you walk over to the drummer and like jam with him in the middle of the set? You know, because that always happens.
And you get the head going synchronized.
Yes.
I think what you're seeing there is when you actually find a way to get into it and sort of let go.
That's awesome.
Even if it's a song you've played a bunch of times before.
Yeah, it's weird. Things take on new life when you're doing it in front of people. It's hard to explain.
You got to feed off their energy, because
Right.
if you're playing a song, like I always am amazed. Well, Elton John, right? We talked about him a couple of weeks ago. That you can play the same songs over and over and have. I mean, his energy's a little lower than some, but I have a massive amount of energy. It's just hard to make that up on your own. You got to get it from somewhere else, I would think.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the Rolling Stones have opened with "Start Me Up" for 50 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I imagine every time they do it, there's a gigantic stadium full of people screaming back at them. You find a way to get into it again. So, the Magic Bag, we've played shows there before, and it's just such an awesome venue. And like they have so much power there. Like, the owner of the Magic Bag has put a lot of money into everything, like laser lights and there's like powerful subs underneath the stage. So when I'll plug in my bass and I'll just thump the low string and you feel the whole thing resonate. You're like, oh shit, this is gonna be so awesome. So the song doesn't matter if you played it a million times.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
And who produced the video? Who directed it?
That's Mike Miller, the guitar player from King's English.
And he's also in Shasta Fox?
He's not in Shasta Fox.
What?
No.
And Maverick is not
I thought
in the
I saw
Air
him
Force.
playing with... Oh, you know what? I know what it was. I went to see Shasta Fox, and he and I were at the bar.
Yeah.
So Mike is often at the bar when Shasta Fox.
Everything is how it relates to it.
Of course it is.
Love it. I love it. It's just that's
Well, because I actually get out and see stuff. You guys are living in the basement, and Sean's watching sports on TV and saying, "Oh, that guy sucks."
I don't like to watch sports at home.
okay.
Or yourself on TV. So
Sean hates everything.
When it's your job, right?
Well, I was thinking maybe your job should have been working at a monastery, making like some sort of mead or something.
I'm content to carry your bags around.
Just be
I was just thinking vow of silence, one of those monasteries,
what I mean?
like so you kind of got the Friar Tuck look going already, except for the cowl. We actually, and we do have branded hoodies, so we could get you like a quadruple X, and you could just walk around.
I'm just gonna keep putting gas in your Prius and carry your bags. I'll be fine.
The Prius doesn't need gas, but I don't have one either.
Plug the sites if people want to see that, or where they can go to get more information about any one of your 15 bands.
Lollapalooza.org. That's where you can go for all the ALS donation stuff and the tickets and everything. The King's English there's a YouTube channel of the same name, and then we have bandcamp.rockedproper.com, which is where you can buy. We have a couple CDs on there, and you can buy the digital downloads
or Google the band name plus Bandcamp.
Right. Yeah, and the same thing with Shasta Fox.
Perfect.
Which the interesting thing, Shasta Fox is named after an intersection a couple blocks from here.
Really?
I used to because I used to live in Ferndale and used to ride my bike around. And then there was just these two streets that intersected, and you would look up at the signs, and it would say Shasta and Fox.
Is that on a album cover or
no?
Take a picture of it?
I think it would.
Or steal it and bring it to the venue.
There we go.
That's why. That's
or
why
borrow it from the city of Ferndale.
Always
and take
stealing with you, isn't it?
I said borrow. I changed it to borrow.
First, it's watching people get thrown off in tornadoes.
Have you ever,
and now
Sean,
it's stealing.
Have you ever stolen a?
Sean wants to stop the steal.
Have you ever taken a street sign?
No.
Have you, Dare?
I have not.
Oh, I stole a silver
Max, have you ever
bike in
taken a street
Tokyo.
sign?
That's
I have not.
ML?
I got a call coming in right now.
Was this just an early 90s thing?
Hello?
I mean,
no.
Oh, have you? Have you stolen?
Oh, my God, yeah.
What else have you stolen?
Not
Did
much.
have a call.
Julie's
traffic
heart.
cone.
Julie's.
Thank you, Emma, for bailing me out there. I'm not a thief.
Except for the stealing.
Well, it was public property, though, right? So I kind of paid for it.
I borrowed a
We're paying for it right now.
I'm not happy about it. It was a dumb
Yeah,
kid.
when you were in Thailand.
Tokyo.
Oh.
Soba bikes, they called them.
Okay.
Noodles off the back.
Yeah, we heard that story before. No one was asking for a re-rack.
No, sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
But go ahead.
Hello, Pot.
No, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
This is the portion of the show where it's a really good time to run up to the bathroom because we're not done yet, but you're not going to miss anything.
Are you sure you're not done? You're never done.
Derek, thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys so much.
See you Friday.
I'll see you Friday.
Magic
Max,
bag.
see you Friday. Awesome to see you right here. And hope everyone else comes out because ML and I would love to, say hi,
steal
take
your
some
drink
pictures,
tickets.
Steal your drink tickets.
And it's a good cause. It's a good cause. We're fighting a nasty disease, and you can help.
Thank you, sir. Come back and explain the difference between the Marines and the Army next time.
We're going to need a whole hour for that.
And
Okay.
I'll have a billion different weather questions.
Badasses.
Or tell us how you dress down kids in schools.
Good. Keep doing it. They need those lessons.
It reminded me of that movie, Thank You for Smoking. You ever seen that with
Yes.
Aaron Eckhart? Where he's like, my mommy says that cigarettes kill. Sounds like your mommy's not an expert now, doesn't it? Like, go get him, Derek.
Love it.
Bye, guys.
See you.
See you, Derek.
Thanks, Derek.
Derek Kevra, you can watch him on Fox 2. And Friday, we're going to be at the Magic Bag, raising some money, raising some beers, having a few laughs, and listening to some great music. So is Mike going to get up with Shasta at all? Is there going to be some
We're doing Kings.
cross-pollinization?
Yeah, no, we're doing Shasta and Kings.
Okay, so
Shasta will go first, and then Kings will just sort of swap in. But because we have to share like a 50-minute set.
right.
So
But so we'll see Mike on stage.
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
good. Because Mike, all the musicians you play with are fantastic, but Mike really shreds. And I had no idea he was such a talented visual artist.
yeah, I think he went to Specs Howard and works for Blue Cross and does a lot of video editing for his job. So
Okay, damn.
yeah, and he does graphic art and stuff like that.
It's a very, very, very talented crowd. Well, this is the point of the show where we thank the people who have made donations. So we're going to go right through because nobody made a donation. So it's really easy to donate, though.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it's.
You could have just skipped that whole part in general.
Yeah, and go right to the feedback.
I just.
What do you want to tell
we
people
are
to subscribe?
Overtime.
I just
Yeah, we
want-
are.
Turning into Sean.
No. Patrick can help us with
I
the
just want to let
subscription.
people know that they can still donate. Just hit a little button on our website. And it
Can
helps.
Patrick tell us how to do that?
I don't know.
mlsoulofdetroit.com, and there's a button that says donate. You click it, and then you put in what you want to donate.
There you
That's
go.
awesome.
Very
It's
simple.
that
awesome.
easy.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Thank you.
So we want to get back to the listeners. And Ken writes, ML, reference free piece by Bill Leitner on the most recent Pontiac mayor.
Oh,
If you missed this, this is a great story by Bill Leitner, one of the most longest tenured, but also most interesting cats at the Free Press. This guy has. If you ever run into Bill Leitner, say, Bill, tell me about that time you were in Paris, or Bill, tell me about how you got that job on Zug Island. I mean, fascinating stories, and a lot of them he's writing for the Free Press. He wrote about the previous mayor of Pontiac, who did not get on the ballot because she had some campaign finance issues. Anyway, the new mayor, Tim Greimel, had some stuff checked out, and the auditor for the city of Pontiac found out that they think maybe $1.6 million or maybe $1.2 million. Anyways, more than $1 million
1.6,
had been misspent. They didn't break down all the details, but some of it included a trip to New York, and it sounds like 3 going away parties, and then hiring people who she wanted to hire for the city that the city council said you can't hire. She'd hire them as interim employees. So
that's the amazing part of the story, because the city council has to approve it, and they would say, no, you're not hiring that person. She's like, I'm hiring whoever I want.
Right. I mean, we have checks and balances. Well, you see that in Washington all the time, where somebody can't get approved by the Senate, so they're the acting head of the CIA or whatever, and then they act as the head of the CIA for like 18 months. You're like, hey, at some point, you are the head of the CIA.
The 2 parties, though, that she threw, because she did like the state of the city, and then she knew she was leaving.
Yeah, and there was like an after party.
Through another
right?
state of the city, just so she could. It seems like funnel money to her nonprofit. That it's a wild story. It was really well written.
Yeah, it's a great story. Unless you're a Pontiac taxpayer.
Well, no, it's bullshit.
But I think when you break down the 1.6 million, you're not going to find that $1.6 million went into her pocket, but that $1.6 million in taxpayer money was spent in a way that was improper, such as hiring people to do jobs for the city when you weren't authorized to do that, or where you were told you can't do that. In our system of checks and balances, you need to follow the rules. At any rate, Ken asks, assuming you read it, obviously I have, in your keen Pulitzer Prize-winning opinion, do you think there's enough meat there to predict she's the next indicted, arrested, and maybe imprisoned Southeast Michigan politician? Or did it read more like some run-of-the-mill trumped-up smear by the city's new administration? Well, certainly not the latter. I think we need to have a breakdown on where that $1.6 million went, and whether or not there's enough there for the feds to come in and bring a public corruption case. They're going to have to let us know. I'm sure the feds will want to know more. They do read the newspapers, and they do watch the news. I think the Lonnie Bates case with the Detroit City Councilman who had ghost employees and had his mistress and his daughter on the payroll and all this other stuff, or his mistress's daughter on the payroll. The feds found out about that because they watched Scott Lewis on Fox 2 when he was one of the problem solvers, and they followed up on that. I know there's stories that we've done, Jim Schaefer and I at the Free Press and other reporters done, where the feds see those and they say, let's check that out. It looks like there's something there.
Well, with this Pontiac case, I think the city council meets today and they'll have a vote because there's an outside auditor that looked at all this stuff. And They're going to vote to send it to the, I guess, the feds, right?
Well, so
whoever the prosecutor is.
So here's where I'm going with this is, the feds will look into it, and if the feds look into it, it's going to take a real long time. But here's what always frustrates me is, why don't the county prosecutors look at this? Why doesn't the state attorney general look at this? Now, we have seen State Attorney General Dana Nessel bring a prosecution in Macomb County against the former prosecutor, Eric Smith. He was the prosecutor, I think, at the time that she charged him for misuse of funds. So sometimes we do have the local prosecutors get on this, but we shouldn't always be waiting for the feds to do this, because one of the things with the feds when they investigate or want to investigate a public official, they have to go to Washington and go through the Justice Department, and there's all these different layers. It's there to make sure that there aren't political prosecutions, and I understand the process and appreciate the process, but really, the key is, if you're in law enforcement and you see this, you should be thinking, I'm going to do something. So if the feds get involved, that's great, because when the feds come after you, they come after you hard. But there's no reason why local prosecutors can't get fed up with this, in the same way that Kim Worthy went after Kwame Kilpatrick and Christine Beatty for perjury and obstruction of justice when the text message story broke. So I do think somebody should look at this, and whether there's going to be criminal charges or not, it will probably take a while. But yeah, I would think if you're in the business of catching crooks and you read Bill's story and you are not interested, then you should be turning in your badge, because you ain't doing your job. And we're getting some feedback here on social media. Do we have a donate button on YouTube? We don't. We need to look into that. I don't know, Patrick, if you know how that works, or if you can get us some intel on that.
Well, I've seen donate buttons on YouTube channels, but usually I only see that if there's like a club or like a Patreon for the artist or the creator. Like, it's usually some sort of membership type thing, and it allows you to donate. But I can still take a look.
So yeah, we're gonna have to look at it, because I've seen arms on the Venus de Milo, but it don't make it art, Patrick.
Exactly.
Did that make sense? Where's Sean?
No, it made sense.
Sean's a resident Ann Arbor guy. He should know all about art and arms and all that other stuff. Sophia says, Dear ML, in light of Ross's, meaning Stephen Ross's, latest punishment in NFL history, largest punishment in NFL history and his latest, and many experts and talking heads calling for him to be forced to sell his team, which is the Miami Dolphins, why are we giving this Palm Beach dirtbag $100 million, period, let alone after this? He's a lifelong crook. He's a racist. He's an unethical scumbag. Our newsrooms haven't made much of a reference to his punishment, and they don't even mention Whitmer, and the legislature just gave this guy $100 million in tax dollars. Not an abatement, hard cash in pork. So let's jump back here. Oh, the clock's up there. We must run along. Stephen Ross, who has the U of M Business School named after him, a prominent alumni, big supporter of a lot of causes around here, wants to reignite this whole innovation center in downtown Detroit or in the heart of Detroit. When the legislature and the governor passed a special appropriation that gave lots of money to individual projects, $100 million was allocated for this innovation center, which if you've been following this innovation center, good luck, because originally it was going to be where the failed jail site was. Then it was going to move. Then it wasn't going to happen. And then the Illiches and Gilbert were going to do it with U of M. And then it kind of died. And then Stephen Ross kind of gallivants in and resurrects it. And we think, okay, now it's going to happen. Well, now we find out there's going to be $100 million pumped into it in your dollars. Yeah, I think Sophia's asking a question a lot of people are asking, which is, why do we need to give billionaires $100 million to do a project they said they were going to do that we thought was already taken care of? Why can't they just do what they said they're going to do without us having to sweeten the pot?
Yep.
A lot of good questions. A guy named Eric Starkman, who writes for Deadline Detroit sometimes, had a sizzling column.
He's really good.
DeadlineDetroit.com. Basically calling out Ross and also talking about how he supports some very, very, what shall we say, unenlightened causes that are very critical of efforts to bring diversity to education and to our society. But then he also has this foundation that's all about diversity. And it's like, what's up with Stephen Ross? He basically said, in my personal experience with Stephen Ross, he's a complete not nice guy. I think is how he said it a little better than that. So you should check that out. But he raises some of these contradictions. And Sophia, says, why are we giving this guy? I would love to know what the justification is for the funding for these various projects, because we've seen this happen before. We saw it happen, get the bell ready, under Governor Engler, when Kwame Kilpatrick was able to get a bunch of programs funded. A lot of that money ended up going back to his family. But when you have these pork barrel things, when you have these earmarks, when you dig a little deeper, it isn't always the public's best interest that is motivating it. Now, I'm not saying that Stephen Ross is making off with $100 million for no good reason, but it does certainly bear some more scrutiny, and maybe I'll be one of the people to
Good question, right, Mike? And great show today.
Are we done? Is this like when somebody turns the lights on after your honeymoon? It's like, okay, time for the pizza.
I wish you could see what.
Wait, what? Someone turns the lights on after your honeymoon?
What? Me?
It's like, honeymoon's over. Let's go.
What are you talking about?
No, I mean, our view over here is pretty clear.
So,
Patrick.
At any rate, Sophia says, if you're on the editorial board at the Free Press,
we're not done with that.
There should be an editorial for the editorial for the legislature and for Whitmer to reverse that $100 million pork that won't happen, Ross.
But yeah.
So I'm not on the editorial board. They don't ask for my opinion. I don't always agree with them, but who knows whether they'll opine up. But you should let them know, because they should hear from the public. Yeah. There's some more unkind comments from Sophia about Mr. Ross. But suffice to say, she is expressing a sentiment we hear a lot, which is, why are we handing money out to people for causes that we haven't really had a case made? And one of the things you find with these packages is there's no hearing, there's no debate, there's no expert testimony. Witnesses don't come in and say this is the best use of $100 million worth of tax dollars. These things are deals cut in back rooms that they can get enough people to vote for and they can get the governor to sign it. And that's how they happen. Not because somebody has said, if we had $100 million, why don't we spend it on this? No. Somebody who's got some juice said, I think I can get this through the legislature, and it happens. So we do need to scrutinize that more. And Sophia, your voice has been heard, and not just because you speak a lot. You really do. You talk a lot. But usually you talk some sense.
That sounds familiar. Right, Sean?
I didn't want to say that. I thought that was understood, I guess.
Thank you for the email, Sophia.
Yes,
I
thank you very
appreciate
much.
it. And Ken.
Yeah.
I'm doing my Vin Scully. I'm giving 16 seconds.
We're limping.
Just to resonate.
We're limping a little bit here.
Don't forget Lollapalooza, lollapalooza.org. It's this Friday.
Yeah.
At the Magic Bag?
Starts with LAW.
Palooza. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, no, the LLEW.
It's
Lollapalooza.
Lollapalooza, yes.
No, we got it.
La Palooza.
Love to see you guys out there.
Lawyers of Band. So we'll be there Friday night. Thanks to Derek Kevra for coming on. Great guy, really good colleague, super smart guy, great basketball player, and just an all-around solid citizen.
And Sean's here too.
There's the contrast.
Thank you, Mark.
There's the yang to his yin.
Thank you, Mark.
And of course, Max.
Thanks for the softball.
Love the music. The music you did
really
for
good.
us, and the music that you're going to do on
Thank you.
Friday.
I appreciate it.
Super talented cat and a good lawyer. So if you're looking for a good lawyer,
What field again? I feel like I ask you all the time.
I'm in insurance as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have some questions for you after the show.
Okay.
I don't know if insurance law questions are the most exciting things.
Buzz
in
Me Mellow is my
podcasting.
favorite part of the show, other than getting to see Mark every week.
No, I know what your favorite part is. It's Cyrus.
you mean cool ass shit?
Yeah, that too.
Shit.
Cyrus, you're right. Cyrus
Or
is
no,
not bad
funky
either.
ass shit, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have intern Patrick, whose summer is winding down. We want to thank those of you who came out last night to our party at the Cadger Cafe for Patrick and Kalina. Kalina's here, too. Before we sign off, I want to, Kalina, can you grab a mic? I want you to hear about how you can follow these guys on social media, because one of the things as they embark on their career is they'll want to have some sort of a following, and their employers will look and see what their followings are like. And so if you would kindly give them a like on their various social media handles, they are going to tell you right now how you can do that. Patrick, why don't you go first? Gentlemen first.
Okay,
Just like on the Titanic.
My Facebook is Patrick Schmitz, last name spelled Schmitz. And my Instagram page is Patrick Schmitz 3, because my first 2 accounts got deleted.
Okay, and where are you on Twitter?
We're still in the process of that, but so far it's
Isn't it P. Schmitty?
Yeah, it's
99?
A little more energy.
But you're still in the process of it. It's kind of like ML still being in the process to get
Of wrapping up the
It
show.
took me like
Venmo.
4 years to actually finish my Facebook account. I thought just making a username and a password was it, but then a couple years later, after not really using it that much, I realized that I had to put in a whole bunch of additional info and stuff like that. So I'm still doing that for Twitter, but my Twitter handle is pschmitty, Schmitty 99.
Okay, and if you make a donation, we're going to get Patrick a
hard.
Red Bull.
or cocaine.
Yeah. No, we saw some in the video.
What?
I was thinking meth.
What?
We have some of that prop cocaine from the King's English video lineup. And Kalina, how do we follow you on social media? Not with air tags or creeps on campus, but this is all social media.
So most all my social medias are at Kalenies, KaleeKniess, just to make it more complicated.
That's very hard, yeah.
And then my Facebook is Kalina Niece, KaleeNaKniess, and I use all my social media. Most of it, my Instagram is definitely more just whatever.
Google and Stalker, and they'll all pop up, right?
Twitter is where I
we are
post a lot
against
more of my news articles, stuff I'm doing at the radio station, all that jazz. So.
Okay, so if you
Fun.
want to know what these talented cats are up to when they're not here, go find them on social media, like their pages, follow their pages, share their posts, help them build a following so that when they're ready to enter the job market, employers will say, here are 2 people who really know what they're doing, because they're doing the opposite of everything they learned at the Solon.
Much to Sean's chagrin, I'm going to ask a question that hopefully doesn't add 30 more minutes.
Oh,
but
does Patrick need sleep?
When
Yes.
you're okay, you guys are young. Do you have every single social media? Do you guys do Snapchat? Do you guys do TikTok? Yeah, Snapchat. What else is there?
I do Snapchat, but I am too afraid to get TikTok because China will take all my information.
They already have all your info. Don't worry. They don't really care about your info that much anyway.
I'd rather they have it without me knowing than me just willingly just handing it to them.
What's the difference? Do you have them all too,
It's a
though? Like
pride
every
thing.
single social media?
Pretty much. That's how you market yourself nowadays. How are people
Lord.
supposed to know who I am when I'm done with school if I'm not posting stuff about myself?
Oh, God. This world.
What do you want me to do about it?
I know. I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad at the world. Right, Max? Do you have every single social media too?
Are there things that you're interested in? Like, if people were to follow you, what are you passionate about? What would maybe causes, or what do you want to do with your career?
There you go.
Well,
Now you're in a job interview.
Well, I want to go into producing news or sports, something like that. And if I can post on my YouTube, here are my highlight reels. This is what I've already done. I know how to anchor. I know how to produce a video. Then people can see it. And if you don't have a following, if you don't already have your name out there, why am I any better than the next candidate?
Sure.
Right. And that's why I think the whole, if it's it's based on subject material. Like, my passion is whatever it is. Then people go because they're also interested in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I'm a crotchety old man, so I can just hate all of it.
Yeah.
And not want to do
I
any
get
of
that.
it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like how social media makes people really divided.
Oh, yeah.
That part sucks.
It's by design, too.
I don't like social media. I
It's
just
the
know
worst.
it's something I have to do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I will like social media when somebody posts a picture of their kid doing something really shitty. You you never see a
I'll do
picture of
that.
some kid crying. It's just like, here's that little bastard at the
tell
park
you,
yesterday.
that's
It's
the-
always like, oh, here's my kid who's, saving a squirrel.
That's the
It's like,
worst
but
part
we
about
didn't see your kid
Facebook.
shoot the squirrel.
Facebook and
That's what I
Instagram is such a lie. It's such a, like...
Yeah,
Have you guys seen the new app, Be Real?
Potemkin Village.
What is it?
Be Real.
Is this a new one people are going to have to download?
So once a day, random time, your phone will go off and it gives you 2 minutes. You got to take a picture with your front-facing camera and
Oh,
your back.
God.
And it shows everyone what you're doing at that exact moment.
Why?
I
Nobody
love it.
needs
It's
to
my
know that.
favorite thing ever.
I saw 2 minutes of Sean peeing on Be Real.
What happens if you don't do it?
And it had a
You can
caption that
post
said almost
late, or
done.
you can't view, if you don't post at all, you can't view other people's Be Reels from that
what
day.
a penalty.
Oh no.
Sean's prostate has almost become like a character on the show because when we were at the Cadgy, we're talking about, there's a small restroom, so you want to try and get in and get out. And they're like, yeah, you don't want to get in there behind Sean. I said, he's just got a large
People actually said that.
Nice
Yeah,
picking.
because you make a point. It's like, this is that part of the show where I have to take a break. And
Nice
it's-
picking on a physical
maybe I
ailment.
just need a break.
but I'm just saying, I think that you
You know what I mean?
become,
From him,
like
is this like I think
a champion of this cause. We should have a benefit for this.
You think so? You get old, you slow down in lots of ways. It's all right. It's no big deal. But I appreciate the
keep
concern.
mocking it.
And my goodness, where is Cyrus?
Why don't you ask him to perform a task that he seems singularly suited to perform?
Yeah, he's reluctant to do it.
Who? This guy?
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
ML Counter Spy solves an exciting case next on Soul of Detroit.